Yo, what's up guys? Today I am working on the Mk2 GTI that I have not shown you guys too much of. It's been in the background a couple times, but getting a whole new fuel system put in. I got a lot of parts from Evil Energy, fuel filters, AN lines. I got dash 6 and dash 10, fuel pressure regulator. Then I also got the AEM 044 fuel pump here. I got a puck fuel sump that I'm going to be putting in. I'm going to have a 100 micron filter from Evil Energy. Then that's going to go to the fuel pump here, and that's on a bracket that was already on the car that I did some modifications to. Then I got a 10 micron that'll go to the fuel pressure regulator. So I'm gonna go ahead, get ready to drain all the gas out of the car. So that's the first step to putting in the fuel sump. Now we just let that drain out and then put the rest of the hole saw through there. All right, we got all the fuel drained out, so now I'm going to do the 3-inch hole saw on the tank. So that's what I ended up with right there. I'm gonna clean up around where the hole saw went through, make sure there's no little stringy string, so I get a good clean seal with the O-ring. That should be good. So that's pretty much how I want it oriented. So I'm gonna thread these guys in there. Easy peasy. So I'm not using any RTV because there's the O-ring. It's not necessary. That should be good. I'll check for leaks when the time comes. Alright y'all, we got the sump on. I tightened it down as much as I could. I did notice that it kind of sits flush with the tank here. And right here, it does not. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can kind of see the O-ring. So, I mean, it's pretty easy to install. So, if it leaks, then I'll take care of that. But alright, so now I'm installing my 100 micron fuel filter. It's gonna go, well, the fuel sump's gonna run right directly to this filter here, and then this will filter all the fuel right before the fuel pump. Okay, so I decided I'm gonna put the fuel filter right here. I already started a couple of self-drilling bolts here to start the threads, and I put a little bit of black RTV there to hopefully seal where I'm gonna be sitting the bracket. This is the stuff here that I'm using to make those bolts seal where I drilled the holes. So let's go ahead and tighten that down. Alright, I got it mounted. I think it turned out alright. I am gonna run a couple lines. I just gotta size them out. Here's the sump, and I'm just gonna run a line up to the pump right here, and I'll have the fuel pump mounted onto that. From there, it's gonna turn into a dash 6 line all the way to the fuel pressure regulator. Okay, so now I'm gonna start cutting my line for going from the fuel sump to the first fuel filter. I got some 10 AN line. One way to do it is to put masking tape over where you're gonna cut, and then cut there on the masking tape, so there's a remainder of masking tape to keep it from fraying like that. So that's how I'm going to go about it. If you guys know a better route, please let me know. Oh, and I'm going to be cutting it with a cutting wheel on a grinder. All right, so we got it held in the vise here. I got it taped off to where I want to cut off this frayed end here. Kind of wish I had some shears for this, but hopefully this will do. So that's how that turned out. I'm not sure if you keep the tape on or not. Yeah, if you guys, like I said, let me know what you guys like to do. I'm trying to learn how to do this the proper way. Okay, so now I'm gonna get my fitting that I want to put on there. This is gonna go right onto the fuel sump and allow me to connect the hose and just thread it on. My understanding is you want to get the hose seated as well as you can. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll try it with the masking tape on first. Oh, so that didn't work. I love that smell. Try this again without the masking tape. There is what we came up with. That is not coming off of there. All right, y'all, I went down there, mocked up a good length for the next fitting, and I marked it right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that cut. So this is what we ended up with. I can move this around, however, but yeah, so fuel sump to the fuel filter. All right, I'll show you guys when I got it on there. So here's how it turned out. Here is the 90-degree fitting, and the fuel line runs up and over this here beam and goes down into the sump here. I like how it turned out. I think I was gonna shorten it a little bit because I think it's like a couple inches long, but then I saw how it kind of, with the extra length, kind of lifts itself over this here cross member. So yeah, I won't be rubbing on that. Over time might, you know, break those, whatever. It won't be rubbing. So yeah, now I'm going to mount the fuel pump right there on the little plate I made, and yeah, keep on going. All right, so here's what I came up with. I got under there and I realized my pump wasn't gonna bolt down onto the bracket I made. The bracket from Evil Energy is actually bigger than I anticipated. So I ended up having to kind of extend what I already had. So I just put a little piece of metal on there, bolted it down, and then yeah, put a little shim in there so it could be flush when it's mounted. So yeah, I'm gonna go put this thing up in the car. All right, here's what I ended up with. Got the old fuel pump mounted onto that bracket. It's not perfect, but it's better than I initially thought it would be. Now I need to put like a 90-degree fitting on the filter and have it running a pretty short amount of distance to the pump here. So I'm gonna mock that up and get going on it. Got this tool, the way I'm gonna clean out debris from cutting the lines, like the rubber debris, is I'm just gonna hook this up to the air compressor. It has a hose here that you just put in a bucket of water, and it just kind of It's not as good as a pressure washer, but it definitely it has its place. I think it'll work really good for clearing out these hoses. Yeah, that's not supposed to be so grainy. It's supposed to be nice and smooth. All right, so we got the little hose in there. It's hooked up to the gun, and basically whenever air is going through this nozzle, it also pulls up water out of the bucket here. Let's take a look at this. Looks pretty good. I don't know if it's perfect. Oh yeah, I just scooped my finger in there. It looks really good. Cool. So that worked very well. It's probably not the suggested way to do that, but that's how it worked for me, so that's how I'm going to be doing that. All right, let's get this next fitting on. And I'm not sure what else I would go to other than the hose. Maybe you're supposed to thread it on there and seat it all the way down to there. That's just not really working for me, but I'm probably just doing it wrong. But I'll try just spinning it one direction, see what happens. Okay, no tape. We're going no tape. It is a bit frayed, but we'll see. I'm afraid. So this one's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of sitting on there a little weird again. Not sure what I'm doing wrong. Yeah, it's all the way down. It should be ready to go with this rest of this fitting. I did order some AN wrenches too. Next one's gonna be fire. And that's just how I learn best, homies. It's just trial and error. Alright. Check that out. I'm pretty happy with that for the most part. I mean, like, that looks like shit. But I don't really want to take it apart. I mean, if it's not leaking, whatever. Throw this on down there and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, here's what we got. It's looking like it might be about maybe an inch or so I need to take off, so I guess I will be able to clean up this fitting. I forgot to tape it. There we go. Still not perfect, but maybe I'm just being picky. Let's throw it on there, see how it turns out. Alright, I got it threaded on right here, and it looks like I got it pretty damn close there. Yeah, I think that's pretty spot on. There is a little adjustment in the fuel pump position on this bracket too, so if it's too short then it's not a big deal, but if it's too long I don't have like a ton of wiggle room up here because I got to get a fuel line down to here from that fitting right there on the fuel pump down to here. It's awfully close, sorry. I'm on the ground, but yeah, I think that turned out good. I'm gonna bolt it up. Alright, that's how it turned out. I think it looks great. I'm gonna take this hose off and clean it because I didn't blow it out. Alright, I got the sump to filter hose off. Yeah, I got to blow it out, clean it. I took a little bit of length off it here too, about a couple inches roughly. You can see the mess I'm making with all the rubber. And that's the stuff that gets inside of the hose that I'm blasting out this way. Excited to get those shears. I think those will be a lot better. But I wanted to show you guys I'm getting a little better with the fittings like getting them in there and making them look good with the hose. Just a little repetition. That's all it takes a lot of the time. Okay, I'm gonna throw this on and I'll let you guys know how it looks. That hose on that I just redid, I think it looks a lot better. I'm a lot happier with it. It's not like too long anymore where it was coming out over like doing a funky bend into this 90 degree coming from, you know, an angle. So cleaned it up quite a bit. Also got all the junk out of there. Now we are going from a -10 to a -6 line that's gonna go to this next fuel filter that I'm gonna put right here, and then a -6 line all the way up to the engine bay. All right, let's freaking do it. Ruby came to say hi real quick. All right, here is the 10 micron fuel filter. Thing's freaking cool looking. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and mount this up under there. All right, I was trying to figure out where to put this dang old thing under here, because I'm really running out of space. Here you can see it's pretty tight. I gotta definitely put a 90 degree fitting on there for a fuel line to come down here. And then I need to figure out where to put the fuel pump, but I was thinking about keeping it right here, but then it's like really low. I think it would sit down here. My car is lowered, so it'd be a little risky, I think, having it right there. I think I decided just to put it up here, since this is where the original fuel lines ran anyway. There's a good place for me to mount it. Nice flat surface right here, and then the fuel lines can go, that's where they'll go in through to the engine bay. So I'm gonna mount it and I'll let you guys know how it looks. Okay, I got it mounted up. I might rethink this in the future. It's pretty low. I'm also gonna need to do like a 90 to another 90 to keep this real nice and tight, to have that fuel line running to this here fuel filter. I'm gonna start mocking up the -6 line. So first thing I'm gonna do is put on a 90 degree fitting coming directly off the fuel pump, and I could run another 90 and have it go kind of like say that comes off the fuel pump, and so it would kind of just go in like a little S, but I would have to have like a really short hose just to connect them, because it's like kind of a tight fit. I mean, yeah, it would have to be probably about that size hose, maybe like quarter inch or something of hose there. So I just don't know if that's a good idea or not. So I might just run a hose coming off of this and just bend it, which I also don't know if is a good idea, but I think it might be a better option than just using the two fittings. But yeah, we'll play around with it and go from there. Give her a snipping. Might mock up how much length I need before I put the fitting on for cleaning purposes. I don't want to blast water through all of this, so I'm gonna go under there and see how much length I need. All right, that's about what we got right there. Yeah, now I'm gonna blast it out and put a couple fittings on there. All right, let's go check that out. Okay, here's what I was talking about. So I got that 90 degree fitting on there. Well, I need the hose to do like another 90 degree. Unless I bend it like that. Maybe that's fine.
Oh no, did I make it too short?
Oh, I might have made it too short. Wait, no, I think it's alright. Oh yeah, we made it. Alright, got that one all made. I gotta tell you, making these hoses is super satisfying. Alright homies, here's what we ended up with. There's this bend here. Goes right down the original fuel line tunnel. Does drop down a bit. And yeah, I'm pretty much done with the supply. I'm so excited. So here is the fuel pressure regulator. I got it mounted up on the shock tower here. I got made this little bracket. I'm gonna do a 90-degree fitting right here, and then the fuel lines are gonna come out of this here hole. Yeah, I'm also, here's a return. I'm gonna do like a little whatever degree fitting this is. Yeah, obviously down into there also. Run it straight back to the sump for the return. It goes down smoothly. It's going pretty. Oh, come on. I think there's some junk in there. It's hitting on something. It's not what you want. Alright guys, so it actually came on through there, and it didn't, got a little dirty. I think it was pushing some dirt through there, so I'll I'll have to spray it out, probably give that a new cut. Yeah, that one should be really easy. Not even gonna keep that in the video. So I'm gonna have to try and make sure this doesn't get dirty. So I'll put some masking tape on it, try to cover it up while I feed it through. I got it screwed in down here. Here it is coming out of the little tunnel there. I could take some length off of it to make it super clean looking, because right now it's like looking like that. Okay, so maybe I'll have it like that. You can see it's kind of coming out of the tunnel, running across, and then coming up into the 90 degree. I think that looks pretty clean. And then this return line will kind of go next to it there. All right, working on the return line. Pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna put a fitting right here on this guy on the bottom of the regulator and just run a line all the way back to the sump. I already got it fed through the tunnel there, and it's ready to just feed on through. Yeah, should be hopefully enough hose, but we'll find out. So I got a -10 to -6 reducer here to put on the fuel sump for the return line. So just a little screw it in kind of action. Maybe that'll be good. Okay. But once that's on, then I'll be done with the return line. Well, I gotta tie it up how I want to have it, but it'll be routed. So I cut it right there. I also blew it out. I don't want to show you the same process over and over again, so I'm just gonna put the fitting on, hook it up, and that's pretty much a wrap. I'll show you a look at the final product whenever I get it all tied up and stuff. But yeah, I think we're pretty much there with the old fuel and supply and return. I'm still waiting on a bunch of engine stuff. I need a fuel rail. Been waiting well over a month for all of this stuff to come in, but it gives me time to do stuff like this. So yeah. What the fuck is that? All right, I got the sump all hooked up. All right, guys, I'll show you the finished product up front here in the engine bay. Schwang. All right, here is the fuel pressure regulator. We got a supply going up here, no return coming out the bottom, going down into the fuel tank. Everything's connected, And yeah, now I'm just waiting on my engine to be in, and I'll run a supply to the fuel rail. I decided to tie it up a little bit with zip ties, and could be a lot cleaner going from here to here, but you know, no one's gonna see it anyway. But yeah, I'm super happy with how this turned out. I don't know what else to say. I think that's a wrap, guys. Thanks for watching. You know, you either enjoy the video or you learn something, because that's all I'm doing out here is trial and error, baby. I'm sure it's gonna leak, but we'll take care of that when the time comes. Peace.